Hi. It's been a while. It's been 6 years since I uploaded a vlog type video. It's been like 10 years since I did it regularly. And things have changed, things haven't changed. You know, this is Gus. It's short for asparagus, but we just call him Gus or Gus. He's a great kid. Anyway, buddy, you might not be welcome in here while I'm filming. To remove the cat. Remove the cat. Okay, buddy. Okay, the cat has been removed. Anyway, I'm back. It's been a minute. I was inspired to start doing this again because I realized both that I have an opportunity to impact other people's lives, like the vloggers I watched when I was coming out helped me, and to be able to share a little bit more about what's going on with me to the people that know me and care about me. So we'll see how it goes. I'm not promising to be a super frequent uploader, but you know, just to check in once in a while. So I've been on testosterone for 10 years. And I've been out for 11 since the end of my senior year of high school. I had my top surgery shortly thereafter. And now I'm looking at getting bottom surgery. I've always known that that was something I was interested in, but it was prohibitively expensive. But I recently learned that my insurance covers it, which is wild. Insurance didn't cover anything trans related when I came out 10 years ago. And now my out-of-pocket expense for the surgery is going to be like $600 as opposed to the tens of thousands I was expecting. It does still require taking about 3 months off of work, which is going to be really stressful and challenging for me as somebody that gets bored easily and needs a lot of physical activity. But it'll be worth it. So I'm getting a Metoidioplasty, which for those of you who don't know, there's two basic transmasculinizing bottom surgery. There's phalloplasty, which is what most people think of when they hear about bottom surgery for transmasculine folks. And that's where they take a skin graft and create a neophallus. And that's a multi-stage procedure. And that's not something I was ever really interested in. What I am pursuing is the metoidioplasty. I like to describe it as they're taking what I've already got and reconfiguring it. So, you know, they'll reroute my urethra, they'll do like testicular implants. I'm also getting a hysterectomy and a vaginectomy at the same time, which I'm really glad they do that all at once so I don't have to go through multiple surgeries and recoveries. So it's going to be a big deal. It's going to be like a 5-hour surgery. I'm right now talking to the scheduler, which is a little wonky because of COVID. It was a long and winding path to get to the scheduler. There were a lot of hoops to jump through. I had to talk to like 2 counselors and a nurse, and I don't even remember. Like a social worker at one point. Like, it was just appointment after appointment. I'm getting it done through Kaiser, San Francisco, which is where I live, and they're just so competent and trans inclusive and educated. Like, I've had to go to like the OBGYN to talk about my histo and stuff like that, and they're just on it with the language, gender inclusive language, and being really sensitive and asking consent about things that might be problematic for someone with my gender identity and my body. So I have nothing but good things to say about them, except for the fact that it was quite a journey to get through all of the different stages, but that's just how it goes. The other thing is I don't have choice in my surgeon, because they've got the one person who does the surgeries, specifically the metoidioplasty and the phalloplasty, through Kaiser, Northern California, so that's who we'll be seeing, Dr. Salim. In my journey toward metoidioplasty, I realized that before I completely destroy the chance of having biological children, I wanted to do a little bit of fertility preservation. And amazingly, in California, there's a bill, I think it's called SB 600, that mandates insurance coverage for one round of IVF for people that are deemed medically unable to have children. I've had to be off my testosterone for a month before starting, which has been a challenge. Physically, there's not a ton of changes. Mostly it's just lack of appetite, lack of sex drive, and then lack of upper body strength that I've really noticed. But emotionally, it's been wild. Like before I started testosterone, when I was sort of a preteen and a teenager, I was disposed to bouts of like depression and anxiety and depression and just like major mood swings, and I didn't quite understand what was going on a lot of the time with my emotions. And since being on testosterone and the right antidepressant, it's been so much more stable. But now being off it again, I realize how much of the turmoil in my teenage years was caused by my hormones. It's just like emotions, an emotional roller coaster. I'm just riding and I'm seeing where it takes me, and sometimes it takes me places that are completely unexpected. I've had a couple of meltdowns. I haven't had a meltdown in many years, just because I was overwhelmed and there was too much going on and I was in sensory overload and my capacity for doing things is really diminished. Anyway, it's all temporary. I've got 1 month more until I finish, hopefully, the whole thing, IVF thing. I'm starting the meds and everything and all the appointments on July 11th. And it's involved. I picked up my prescriptions at the pharmacy. They gave them to me in a grocery bag. I've got, I don't know, 3 or 4 different meds to stimulate things and stop things. And I also, thankfully, got estrogen blockers from my doctor to counteract some of the effects of the emotional side effects of all of the whatever they're giving me. I've had to watch tutorials on how to measure and inject myself with it's a whole thing. I'll update you when I've actually gone through it. So it's going to be a really involved process, but I figured I would regret it if I didn't try. So the other aspect is that they measured my AMH level before this, just so as a baseline to see, and that's anti-Müllerian hormone, I've learned. And it can be an indicator of how well your body's going to respond to IVF. So sort of the lower the number, the less eggs you'll probably end up being able to extract, and the higher the number, the more successful IVF is going to be. And my number was low. It was so low, my doctor said that she'd be more optimistic if we did multiple rounds of IVF, and I told her that I couldn't afford it because only 1 round is covered by insurance, but 2, I'm not willing to go through that multiple times. So it's going to be my one chance, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, and that's okay. I tried. So I'm feeling good about that. I'm feeling optimistic and excited and hopeful, and a little bit nervous and overwhelmed and emotional. But I've got a great therapist, got a good support system. I know myself, and I think I can get through it. That's mostly what's going on with me these days. Big things ahead, and I'm glad I'm doing it now. I don't think the time was right years ago when I was still sort of figuring out who I was and what I wanted to do in terms of being in the world as a trans person. I've gotten to a place where I'm very, very comfortable, and I know myself better. I wanted to briefly talk about access to reproductive rights and freedoms, because as somebody who lives in California, mine are protected. I have access to IVF. I have access to abortion if I need it, and as of today, when I'm filming this, much of the rest of the country doesn't. And it's a nightmare for many, many women, and also many people who don't identify as women, and for whom reproduction was already a little bit more challenging navigating that system as a trans or non-binary person with a uterus. Now it's gotten even scarier. To have freedom and autonomy over one's own body and one's own major life decisions is so important. We don't need the law to try and get in the way of that. So I'll leave you there. I hope to be back with maybe some more songs and maybe some more updates as I navigate my way through fertility preservation, through bottom surgery,